Hello everybody, welcome to the midweek live stream. So we've just had, we had half an hour ago, the interest rate decision from the US Federal Reserve. As expected, the central bank in the US raised rates by 0.25%, 25 basis points. What's the market done? Headless chicken. This isn't a surprise when we see markets react like this. This is the S&P. So this is where it was just before the announcement came out, trading around 40.57, traded down to 40.40, bounced back to 40.70, and here we are at 40.54. So lots of noise, not much direction. But again, if you've ever watched any of these announcements before, you'll know that's not that rare. And of course, on Friday, we've got the non-farm payrolls, the US unemployment numbers. And again, it wouldn't be surprising to see a similar sort of thing. The press conference is starting just now. That can cause some volatility, depending on what they say. They did say in the statement that they think, that more rate rises are coming. I don't think there was much of a shock in there. Anyway, as usual, let's get the housekeeping out of the way. Then we can launch in to having a look at markets. So first of all, that was a stroke of genius there. Started the slideshow at the end of the slides. Oh, look at this. It's just very... I've just completely messed my screens up. Okay, hold on. You'd think I'd never actually done one of these before, wouldn't you? Right. There we go. Order has been restored. So let's do a risk warning. The presentation is only for educational purposes. It does not contain and should not be construed as containing investment advice or an investment recommendation or an offer of or solicitation for a transaction in any financial instrument. David Jones accepts no responsibility for any use that may be made of these comments and for any consequences that result. You should consider whether you understand how spread bets, CFDs, futures, foreign exchange work, and whether you can afford to take the high risk of losing your money. Trading is risky. Okay, that's the risk warning done. So looking ahead, it's not the end of interest rates for this week. So tomorrow, not as big a deal, but we do have the UK rate decision. Is it 50 basis points expected from the UK? 0.5%. I mean, rates are expected to go up. That's tomorrow lunchtime. And then EU interest rates as well tomorrow. I think it's about an hour after normally, isn't it, after the UK rate. So still more interest rates to come. And then, of course, on Friday, the next big event, normally it's, over the years, it's traditionally the biggest event of the month, overshadowed over the last couple of years. But we've got non-farm payrolls. So US unemployment numbers come out on Friday. Let's see what it looks like. I'll be doing the live stream as usual at 2:30, an hour after those, so that'll have given the dust a chance to settle. We'll see what markets look like then. A quick plug for my trading course before we get into it. 2 courses within the course. There's the medium-term trading approach, trading over weeks and months, 11 video lessons on that. Shorter-term trading approach, trading over hours and days, 7 video lessons on that. As part of the course, there are 4 one-hour live webinars held with me. The next one for course attendees is tomorrow. And in the last month, I've started piloting a WhatsApp group for those who are on the course, because I appreciate, once you start trading or you may be having different approaches, there's a bit more hand-holding and support and general chat about markets. So I've started doing that as well as part of the course. When I launched the shorter term course in October last year, I said I was going to trade an account for at least 3 months with £4,000 in to apply the principles of the course and see what it looked like. I was always confident this was going to make money, but the end of that was yesterday. So the 31st of January, this is the performance of the account to the 31st of January. Closed profits just under £2,200. Did much better than I thought it would. If it had made 5% a month, a couple of £100 a month, I'd be happy with that over 3 months. Would have made £600 profit. In the end, it's made 55% return. So 2,194 is the close profit. I do have a couple of trades still running. I'll show you these. So I'm still long the euro and long sugar. So the euro, I took that snapshot about an hour ago. There was a bit of volatility for the euro over the announcement, but I think it's pretty much where it is. So I've still got £260 of open profits running. That sugar trade is, I think it's been, at the moment, I think it's the second biggest winner for the month. As part of this £4,000 account, I was risking £100 a trade. So again, I thought I'd do it at that level. That's something that we can all relate to. But to find out more, have a look on the website and you can see the performance details there. Trustpilot reviews, thanks to those who've left reviews. You came in the course. There are some 5-star reviews. They're all 5-star reviews. 8 5-star reviews for that. So have a look, David Jones Trading on Trustpilot. I've started a newsletter a couple of weeks ago, free of charge. Comes out every weekend. What's happening in markets? What's my hot market to watch in the week ahead? And a trading tip in there as well, and some other bits and pieces. If you haven't signed up to the newsletter, if you go to my website and scroll to the bottom of a page, there's a box there for signing up, and I'll put the link to the latest newsletter in the description of this video so you can see what sort of thing to expect. So the website is jonesthemarkets.com. Any questions about anything, feel free to drop me an email. I don't have all the answers, but I can definitely give you the benefit of my decades of experience. Okay, so feel free to send something across. Right, that's it. Let's take a look at what's going on. So we started off by looking at the S&P. So, you know, I mean, I never trade over these sort of announcements because the market, you know, suddenly it's like, this is really terrible. Oh, actually, no, it's not that bad. Oh, actually, maybe it is terrible. So you just get all sorts of stupid moves. I'd rather let the dust settle. So I haven't traded for the last couple of days. If we take this back to a daily chart, what's changed on the S&P? We're still where we were looking at this on Friday of last week. You know, here's our bigger picture view for the S&P 500, the broader US stock market index. The trend since Jan of last year has been down. The trend since October last year has been up. We've got a really, I think, still got quite a nice trend going on the short term, on the hourlies. Let me just tidy this up a little bit. Here we go. So it looks like that, the current trend. So for me, in the short term, still be a buyer of dips on the S&P. But the big question is it going to crack this big level? And for me, 41.55 is the level that needs to be cracked to suggest this downtrend is over. So short term, still be a buyer on dips. I'd be quite tempted though, if it pushed up towards the end of the week, to think about going short again ahead of that 4100, 41.55 zone. So quite a bit of noise over the last few days, but no real resolution for this trend. There you go. That's that. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ's going to be pretty similar. I mean, the NASDAQ's having more of a go. You know, the NASDAQ this week did probe through that old level. So that high, what was the high for the NASDAQ this week? 11,908. So it did actually hit its best levels since September last year. So we had, what's that, 4.5 month high on the NASDAQ. That's the end of last week, isn't it? End of last week on the NASDAQ. So again, for me, the level to watch on the NASDAQ, let's call it 12,200 or thereabouts. I think if it breaks through there, it does start to look like it's reversing. So we've got a really interesting time, I think, in stock markets at the moment. You know, we have a lot of the other markets. If you look at something like the DAX, the German market, you know, we've looked at this a lot in the various live streams. I mean, that came out of its downtrend in November last year and has just motored higher. So that's done really well. FTSE, the UK market, we have this big level, these all-time highs for the FTSE at 7,900. Is it going to break? Who knows? Let's wait and see. But if we break through there, you know, we're seeing fresh all-time highs for the FTSE, and the trend for the FTSE is definitely up. So I am sort of leaning towards, well, perhaps we will see these US markets finally start to break out, but we're not there yet on the S&P. So let's see what happens. So lots of noise the last couple of days, not too much so far for this S&P. Let's see, is it moving much at all? in this press conference? Let's flip it back to the really short-term 1-minute chart. Oh, there we go. So something got said in the press conference it liked. I think it's going to make for an interesting couple of days ahead. So like I say, 4,100 to 4,150 on the S&P. Big level to watch. Let's see. Let's see what happens. And we're still just a little bit. What's that high? Last Friday's high was at 40.90. See what happens up here. We'll pop back and have a look at it as we go on with this live stream. The other big market, of course, that's going to be affected by interest rates is the US dollar. This is the dollar index, one of my favourite markets. Oof. Doesn't like it, does it? It does not like it up 'em. So again, when the announcement came out, because the statement said, oh, further rate rises to come, this is where the dollar index was before the announcement, around 101.75. It did trade up to 102, and here we are at 101.50. Okay, so a fair old bit of volatility on the dollar index, but this stuff can turn very quickly. Why the dollar index is interesting, the dollar has done incredibly well over the last, since May 2021, so 20 months or whatever. Oh, that's the wrong thing, I didn't want that. And we had this great trend, but it did sort of peak back here, September last year, and since then it's been under pressure. We've been knocked back on the dollar index to what has historically been a really big level for the dollar. Let's call it 101. We'll round it up. The lows from May of last year. So for me, I think I said it on the live stream last Friday, 101 is really break or bust territory. If the thing is going to start turning around here, then maybe this is the place where it does it. But it is getting absolutely slammed at the moment. So we've seen it drop 60 points in the last 10 minutes or so. So absolutely, for me, the dollar and the US indices are the markets to watch over the next couple of days. It's always a bit crazy when we have these decisions like today. Let's see what it looks like on Friday when we have a look at it. Let's have a quick look at a couple of other currencies. Euro dollar. I'm long euro dollar, aren't I? So that's good for my euro dollar position. There we go. Lovely. So the euro has pushed out to its best levels tonight since April last year. So we are at 10-month highs on the euro against the dollar. Clearly getting a lift off that US dollar weakness that we're seeing. I've said it in live streams all along. I'm going to do a video tomorrow on the dollar and the euro following tonight. That'll go up on the channel tomorrow afternoon. But I was absolutely a buyer of dips on euro dollar. It'd be interesting if we get a deeper dip at some point. Do we see these old lows around 105 hold? But not surprising that we are seeing a nice little move on the euro tonight because the dollar is getting hit so much, or has been hit so much in the last 15 minutes. Who knows, in 20 minutes time it might be a different story. So that's euro US dollar. Pound against the dollar, nothing much has happened. Oh, I think I've just managed to set a timer on my Apple Watch. So pound against the dollar, nothing's happened really. We've got this big level, 124.50. Be interesting one to watch tomorrow lunchtime, UK time, when the UK interest rate decision comes out. But 124.50 has been the ceiling for the pound against the dollar. If it's going to turn down from anywhere, I think we're here. So that'll be an interesting market to watch tomorrow. If we were looking at the RSI, it has sort of rolled over the last week and a half. So let's see what happens. So we have dollar index, euro dollar, and US indices are the interesting markets to watch. Let's take a look at some other stuff. Gold, not surprisingly, with the dollar going down, we're seeing gold going up. There we go. So it's a big move in gold, relatively speaking, in the last 10 minutes or so. So the price of gold has jumped about $12. We do have, I've been bullish on gold. I think I said on Friday, my biggest winning trade in January was gold. I put it on at the beginning of the month. I think it was the 5th or the 6th of Jan. I did the trade on gold. If you go to the website, I do have a list on the performance page of all the trades I've done in the last 3 months that made up that track record. So, nice move. Bit of a false break yesterday on gold through that old support. The big trend is still up from the 4th of November. If we take a look on the hourlies, we can see that big trend in there. But perhaps it is running out of steam up here. Let's see what happens. Let's see over the next couple of days, can gold break out again through 1950 and get another move on? So, I mean, it's still bullish. I'd still be a buyer of dips in gold, but we are perhaps getting back, towards something that's been a ceiling for gold over the last 2.5 years or so, up above 2,000. So how much is left in the short term? I think so much depends on what's going to happen with the US dollar. I think if we see the US dollar start breaking below 101, we could see a much bigger dollar sell-off, and of course that would be good for the likes of gold. So that's that. Silver has done its usual thing. Lots of scrappiness, no direction in silver. Is it even moving on this? It must be moving higher. Okay, it's moved a bit higher. It has moved a bit higher. It's giving it up a bit at the moment. I mean, silver, the trend is still up. It's just a bit dull, and it's been dull for 6 weeks now, silver. But we got, good support down at 22.5. Not much exciting, not much else to say really about silver. Oil. Let's take a look at oil. I got stopped out of oil this week. I bought it on Monday. I was going to do no trades at all this week, but as usual, I couldn't quite help myself. So I did trade oil this week, and I wonder if it is starting to break down a bit. The interesting thing for oil, and I've said it a few times in the live streams, you could argue both ways on oil. I would argue the big trend since June of last year is still down on oil. That's what I would say. Someone might say, well, hang on, it's breaking out of the downtrend and blah, blah, blah. But, this level from early December, let's round it up to $84. It cannot get through it. Just again, in the last week or so, we've seen the price of oil, the last couple of weeks, trade up to 82.5 a barrel, and it's run out of steam again. And here we are at 76.65. So let's see what happens. If it sells off from here and we go back, do these old lows at 70 to 72 hold on oil, or do we see it start to break down through these old lows, and perhaps we've got to start targeting 65, November 2021 lows. Let's see what happens. But 84 on oil is absolutely the ceiling so far, and is a real problem for that market. Let's save the best till last. Natural gas. The rout in natural gas continues. I did a video, I think I might have said it last time around, did a video last week on natural gas, and by my standards, it has gone viral. So it shows there's a lot of interest in this market, and most of the interest, I put it in my newsletter last week. Let me see if I can find the image. Just hold on a second, because this is a really telling image, this. Hang on a second. Here we go. So I saw there was quite a few comments on the natural gas video I did the other week. And you could see that people were trying to find the bottom, trying to pick the bottom. And I don't normally see a skew in the comments like that. But I thought everyone's really skewed here. And I'd gone short natural gas last week, went short on Tuesday, came out on Thursday. I thought I'm going to have a look at client sentiment on a broker site. So this was the client sentiment last week on natural gas, and I included it in the newsletter that went out on Saturday. You can almost guarantee when you have a market that has, a really clear trend, which of course is what we've had in natural gas. So the price of natural gas, when I wrote the thing at the weekend, is down 70% since the August highs. It's down even further now. I think it must be down 75%, maybe something like that, 74%. But this is the way that clients of this broker were positioned. So 93% of clients who had a trade on natural gas, which way were they? They were not short, they were long. Okay, and I bet it is still pretty much the same now, because people try and pick the bottom, get absolutely clobbered. Big reason why 75% plus of people lose money when trading. So let's have a look at what's happened this week in natural gas. So that was Sunday night open. So we gapped anyway. So Friday it closed at $3, gapped down to 280 on Sunday night trading, then it might, I bet it sucked a few in yesterday thinking, oh, finally, natural gas, we've got 5 green candles in a row on the hourlies. Or today, this was actually early this morning, and bang, it's just tanked. You know, the price has dropped by 10% today from the highs today. It is an absolutely brutal market, natural gas. Trend is still down, all the usual. If we go back, if I flip this over to a weekly chart, you know, today, how low is it traded today? 282, no, not, it must be lower than that. I'm reading that wrong. 256 is the low today. So we are back to where it was April 2021. So what's that? 20-month low, 21-month low on natural gas. And where's the support from back then? If we were looking for maybe a level where maybe we'll get at least a bit of a bounce if it sells off much further. So 220, let's call it 225. But that's December 2020 lows. Let's see. But I dread to think, you know, how much money has been lost trying to pick the bottom of natural gas over the last few months or so. So for me, it's still the same. You know, I'd be a seller of a rally in natural gas. I think if we got a bit of a push up back to $2.90, $3 again, it looks interesting. Looks like an interesting sell up at those levels. But it's a market that is just been brutal this year. Where did it end last year? So it ended last year at $4.50, and we're $2.60 now. So it's dropped 40%. Is that quick maths off the top of my head? About 40% or so, isn't it? Even more than that, maybe. So yeah, massive slides in natural gas. And finally, let's have a quick look at the Bitcoin. So if there's any stuff you want looking at, if you want to put it in the chat, and we'll have a look at it in a minute. So I mentioned this on Friday. You know, we have seen this. It's come back to life a bit, hasn't it? I did say I'd go short as well, though, and I still would go short because I think we've seen Bitcoin jump up by 50% off the January lows, and I think if we get a bit of a sell-off, lots of people will panic sell into it because they'll think, quick, you know, I don't want to see this thing fall again. So I do think that I can't see it going much higher than here personally, but I do think the sell-off is interesting. You know, if I pick up on the old squiggle, my squiggle trading technique, which I've not used for a while, if we sell off, for me, what's interesting is where does it bounce? You know, and I think that could be perhaps an interesting trade if we did see Bitcoin under pressure from here, but the old 16,000 lows hold. I think that could be an interesting trade. But let's see. So I'm sort of, it is definitely a lot more interesting now than it has been. But let's see what happens over the next few weeks or so. So that's it. That's all the stuff. So what to watch? Well, for me, I suppose NASDAQ or S&P. And that NASDAQ is breaking out. Look at that. That's really interesting to me because we're breaking out through something that has been a barrier. So interesting to see where it finishes today and interesting to see where it is on Friday. But, you know, it's the first time it's managed to break the trend line and break what has been a significant major high. So for me, this does suggest perhaps this is the market on the turn from a more medium to longer term perspective. So there's that, and of course the dollar index, because it's a really interesting market. Dollar index still getting clobbered today. Let's see where it all finishes up. Well, it's still really weak, isn't it? I mean, it's lost nearly 100 points now since that press conference started, and the press conference is only 25 minutes in. So yeah, for me, those are the two to watch: NASDAQ / S&P. And the dollar index. Let's see where it all ends up. Right, I'm going to jump into the questions in a second, but as usual, quick plug. To get the newsletter, go to the website, jonesmarcus.com, scroll to the bottom, put your name in, and you'll be on the list. It's an automated list, so you should be on that. Any questions, drop me an email, dj@davidjonestrading.com. To find out more about the trading course, go to the website, have a look on Trustpilot, David Jones Trading, on Trustpilot for some reviews, and that's that. Right, let's have a look at some of the questions. So Richard's saying, I got your first newsletter but not the second. I would say go and try and sign up again because it's run by MailChimp, the big emailing list company. So for once, it won't be down to my incompetence missing you off the list. So go to the newsletter and subscribe again and see if it adds you in. But if you don't get anything over this weekend, drop me an email. I'm going to investigate it. Views on the crazy world of natural gas. Yeah, we did that. We did that to death, didn't we? Natural gas, I think. Someone saying, Ant saying, I can tell you one thing, trying to pick the bottom on gas wasn't so easy. You don't say. I think you and plenty of others, I think, on that one, on natural gas. Can we have a look at corn and soybeans? Yes, we can have a look at those. I did have a quick look this afternoon. I thought corn was a bit boring. That's what I thought. So looking at the dailies, it's been a great market to trade over the years, and I've traded it a bit, corn and wheat and soybeans. And we had this great run up, August 2020, and of course this was a really good, I thought at the time, suggestion that actually, do you know what, inflation could be a problem, because the price of corn went from 320 a whatever, however it's measured, to early 2021 being 740. So we saw the price of corn double into 2021, halfway through 2021. And it has pushed a bit higher into April. I think, again, probably the Russian invasion of Ukraine was perhaps the catalyst behind that, maybe more so for the wheat market, but whatever. And now it's a bit, so for me, it's a bit stuck in the middle of a range. Okay, I could absolutely make the case for being a buyer of the dips if I was looking at a shorter term chart. Let's say something like that. But it's all a bit all over the place, isn't it? So, if I had to do a trade, I'd be tempted to go short. If I had to do a short term trade, I'd go short with a stop somewhere above 690. But it's the sort of thing where I look at it, there isn't really a trade for me in that at the moment. You could also say there's a bit of bearish divergence going on where we've hit a high again, and we've got lower highs on the RSI. So again, perhaps a suggestion that the market is a bit overstretched up here. Let's see what happens. But yeah, just a bit too sideways for me, to be honest. Soybeans. Hang on, let's have a look at soybeans. I think that was it looking a bit similar to thingy-majiggy. Cool. I'd be a buyer. For me, that looks like a better buy than corn. So what I would be focusing on this one is the little recovery that continues to sort of chug along off those October, November lows, about 1420 to 1540 now. So I'd be a buyer of dips, and if I was a buyer, I'd have my stop loss at least the other side of 1460. So perhaps it'd be an interesting one to come back to on Friday to see if we've had this big sell-off today, see if that's resolved itself, and see what it looks like on Friday. So I'd be a cautious buyer of that one. And again, another market, absolutely. I think it was in 2020 or maybe 2021. It was my most profitable market, which I was really surprised by. I keep loads of records about trading, which you'll see if you go to the website. And if you want a copy of that spreadsheet, I'll send it through to you. But I was really surprised that it was the most profitable market. But again, we just had great trends in its market. A bit scrappier since then, but a nice little trend chugging away since October of last year. Someone said, coffee Arabica. We've looked at coffee for a while. Coffee was selling off, wasn't it? I think we did look at that, didn't we? We looked at that on Friday. That's interesting, I think. I think there's a couple of ways of treating this, right? So we've seen this big move yesterday on coffee. So I think one way, if you wanted to go short coffee, I think this is the perfect place to go short coffee. And treat yesterday's move as a false break. So if I was going to go short coffee, I would put a stop up above today's height, which is 183. What I'd probably rather do though is wait and see what happens next, because that trend, there's the little trend chugging away, is still going. So I think that's an interesting market. And so does the move yesterday suggest the downtrend is over for coffee? I think it's an interesting market to start watching. Let me add it in to my list, and we'll come back to that on Friday, if I remember. Phil's Ferrari stock. Race is still doing well, isn't it? So it's daily. It's come off a bit, hasn't it? That's the Milan listing. Let's have a look at the New York listing. Okay, it's come off a bit since Friday. But absolutely, still doing well. Bounced back today, isn't it? Great trend in Ferrari stock. Tesla, what is going on with Tesla? I've not looked at that. I put out a video I think it was about a week ago. Because I do still think this is a bit of a dead cat bounce for Tesla. Absolutely. The trend this month is up. There's no denying that. And I think my charts have just decided to buy. Oh, there you go. So for me, the trend is up. So I'll still be a buyer of dips on Tesla. But I do wonder if it nudges a bit closer to $200, you know, anybody who bought at any point up to December last year is underwater. If it starts nudging to 200, do we see some sellers come out? Let's see what happens on Tesla. But a nice little trend chugging away all this month. I mean, what's from the low? It was $100 was the low. It's up, what, 80% on the month, Tesla stock. You know, it's still, if you bought, like I say, if you bought at the end of November, you're still underwater. You're still losing money. You're down 10% on that. But it has had a heck of a run off the January lows. What else have we got? Natural gas is crazy. Yep. I'm making a huge loss. I'm going to be careful what I say here, but I appreciate your honesty. So Shimster's saying I'm making a huge loss on natural gas. The only option I've got is to hold. Okay, now I think it's a really, that shows you the benefits of stop losses. That's what I'm going to say. Yeah, I have seen too many people over the years, clients, rack up enormous losses on one market because they couldn't take the initial loss. Okay, so hopefully it bounces back for you. Let's see what happens. But a great lesson: risk control is everything in trading. Let's not forget, I'm going to say it again, 75 to 80% of people lose money when trading. You know, if there were 20 people in front of me who are all going to start trading today, I would have a bet with all of them that in a year's time they're going to be losers. Okay, and the odds are massively on my side. And one of the big mistakes people make is they do not manage risk. They put a trade on just thinking about how much money they're going to make. They don't think about where am I going to get out of this trade. Okay, so there we go. There's a lesson for us all there. I hope it comes good somehow. Ants is saying the green sticks, the green candles on natural gas roped you in. It's fair enough, yeah. Well, it's not fair enough, but it's good. It's quite an interesting experiment to change the colours on your candles to just white. So, because I do think it does have a psychological effect, you know, because again, it's the old FOMO, isn't it? It's the fear of missing out. So if we were looking at natural gas at 3 o'clock this morning, not that I would have been, you know, someone may think, oh my God, this is it. This is the bottom in natural gas, quick. And then ba-bang, natural gas yet again does the business. I think I said it last time round, a good mate of mine who traded for years used to refer to the NASDAQ during the dot-com bursting as a market that does whatever it can throughout the day to give everyone a chance to lose some money. And I think absolutely that is the mode natural gas is in. It thinks, okay, I'm just going to run up for a little bit, we'll suck people in, and then I'm going to dump again. And that's exactly what we've seen. Crazy, crazy market. Natural gas market scares me as a very conservative trader. Oh, sorry, I just jumped to, I really hate it so much. And I think that's fair enough, you know. I think I said on Friday, I traded it last week. When did I trade? I traded it on Tuesday last week. So I sold this bounce and then stayed with it only till Friday or Thursday. So I was out there. If I'd have stuck with it, I should have made probably double the profit. But there you go. But one of the reasons I hadn't traded it for so long was the same reasons, that I was a bit scared of it. I traded it in October, and I was away in October. I traded it and done a bit there, but I hadn't done anything since then. And I decided last week I've got to get back into it again. But you're right, it is. And I think if it's a market that's too volatile for you, absolutely do not trade it. You know, this is a major commodity that today has moved 10% in about 15 hours. It'd be like oil moving $7, which of course can happen. But natural gas, that's almost has been a normal day for natural gas recently. Absolutely nuts. Money never gets lost, it just finds a new home. It's a lovely sentiment there. Peter, yeah, that's true. So yeah, if you're a buyer, then you have been giving your money to the shorters. Right, what else have we got? Fresnillo. So Fresnillo, have a look at a stock. So Fresnillo is, I think it's the copper. Is it copper, isn't it? It's definitely commodities, isn't it? Fresnillo, ouch. Oh, that's only an hourly chart. Hold on a second. Let's take a look at the dailies. Look at the dailies. It's interesting. I mean, is it interesting? Now, to me, it's all a bit sideways. And it's almost slap bang in the middle of the range, isn't it? This is the UK listing. So we've got £6.20 lows, £10 highs. So about £8 is the middle of the range, and it is the middle of the range. So what would you do? I suppose if you thought, actually, the sell-off has been overdone, it's dropped 20% since the January high, then you think about being a buyer. If I was doing that approach, and this is an approach I trade, I talk about it on the course, like an overreaction in the market, I'd wait though. I'd wait for it to actually stop going down. But it's the sort of thing, if I looked at it from an investment point of view, it's not interesting to me because it's just too sideways. But let's see what happens. But it has been pretty weak. You know, it's traded back to nearly a 3-month low, you know, and it's dropped 20%. So that's a big old hit. It's taken off those highs. LAC says, Phil, keep this on your back burner. A lithium miner in Nevada, GM, General Motors, just invested 650 million into this company. Let's see. Lithium Americas Corp. Okay. So it's had a bit of a, so I'm guessing that as that news come out recently, and that's the blip up that we've seen. So again, for me, so leaving the GM-ness out of it, I'd still be tempted to think the trend is still down on that one. But as you say, Phil, you know what you're doing. So we'll come back and have a look at it in the weeks ahead and see what it looks like. Is oil and gas price affected with a dollar interest rate rise? I suppose because you're paying for oil on the world market, you're paying in dollars. So, you know, fluctuation, I suppose, has an impact, doesn't it? But do you know what? I don't really know. So I think that could be one for Google or for that AI thing. I would put it in if I was logged on. How does a fluctuating dollar affect the oil price? I should know, but I don't. Dollar Swiss is a good one. I think that'll look, I'm guessing that's going to look a bit similar to the dollar index, but let's take a look. Yeah, that's on the floor, isn't it, as well? So that peaked later than the dollar index, but again, dollar Swiss getting hit. And let's see what happens in the next couple of days, you know, because if there's a feeling that this dollar move tonight has been overdone, you know, it could be an interesting trade in these sort of markets if we are going to get some sort of dollar snapback. Let's see on Friday what it looks like. But it has been, you know, it's been a pretty. Let's have a look at dollar Swiss on the 5 minutes. I mean, it is trying to hold down here. What's the dollar index doing? The dollar index still going down. The old dollar index. Let's have a quick look at the Nasdaq. Oh, the Nasdaq's on an absolute rip, isn't it? So yeah, the Nasdaq's powering ahead. And then what's the S&P doing? Then I get back to questions. That's going up as well. I was watching some financial TV between 7 and 7:30 before I came on, 7 and 7:30 my time. And I never watch financial TV because I do think it is just, I don't know, it's like MTV for financial markets. It's just noise, right? And they had a couple of people on there and they were saying how they thought the stock market was overvalued and this interest rate thing was going to be bad for the stock market. And I just thought, it is Sod's law, the markets are going to rally for the rest of the year. I mean, it's only been rallying for half an hour. But they were all quite bearish on the stock market. There was a guy on there from Vanguard, the index tracker, who was bearish. And I thought it was a strange thing to say if you work for an index tracker. But yeah, I didn't quite see the bearish argument. And absolutely, so far, we are seeing quite a move in these markets. Let's see. So Gangrene says, I'm long Tesla, but I'm in loss. You bought a 200 call on Tesla. Well, you never know. Depending how long you've got to expiry, you never know. Could happen. Who knows? Oh, I just read it, the 17th of Feb. But it could still happen, couldn't it? The rate that Tesla's going at the moment, you've got 2 weeks for Tesla to get through your 200 and cover your premium and all of that as well. Let's see what happens. But you're in a better position probably than you were a week ago. With the first thing I started trading, so I didn't start trading properly till the late 90s, but when I first started dabbling with markets, because you didn't have contracts for difference and all that back then. I traded options, right? And then on individual stocks. And the absolutely frustrating thing about options, and I'm sure you know this now, being in the Tesla trade, you can be right, but if you're not right quick enough, you can still lose money. So I'd never use options for directional trading like that, precisely for that reason, because the markets typically always move slower than I think they're going to move. So for me, and with time decay in options is an absolute killer. I do read the Wall Street Bets thing on Reddit, which is quite frightening. Some of the money people lose on there, and they love a short dated option. They love like an S&P option that expires in 2 days. Absolute lunacy. But I can feel your pain. The 24-year-old me can feel your pain on that Tesla option. Right. What else have we got? I'm not a fan, as I say. I don't trade individual shares. I got no interest in it. But if it's going well for you, good for you. Good for you. And I hope that Tesla does well. How would you deal with hesitation when you're entering a position? I don't hesitate. To be honest, this month I've probably traded too much because I've been trying to clock up this 3-month track record thing. And my trading, it all went, and it made money. It was all a bit choppy at the beginning of the month. Let me show you, right? There's an interesting lesson here, I think. And it's my live stream, so I'm going to say it is interesting. But I've got this performance page on the website. Let me show you the middle of the month, right? So these are the trades over the 3 months. I don't know how clear this will be in the screen, but this account hit a peak profit of 2,222 on the 16th of Jan. And then by the end of the month, I'd only made about not even another couple of £100. Yeah. And I felt by the middle of January that the markets were all a bit choppy. And if I hadn't been doing this 3-month trading publicly of the account, I'd have knocked it on the head and taken 2 weeks off. So I don't hesitate to not trade. And when I see a trading setup that's right, I don't hesitate to put that trade on either. And I think it is hard in the beginning because you're afraid, because it is the fear thing of being wrong and all of that. But you just have to keep on doing it. I think you have to have an approach. If you're sensible with your risk, you know where your stop's going, all of that, you know what your setup is. And I teach, on the course, lots of different trading setups, lots of how to manage risk, lots of where your stops go. And it becomes a habit. But I just think you have to just keep on pushing yourself to do it. I don't think there's not an easy answer. If there was an easy answer, 80% of people wouldn't be losing their money, would they? To say that for the third time, and I think you just gotta do it. We looked at oil, so you can watch it. You can watch the recording of oil. So once this thing's finished, the recording will be up, so you can have a look at oil. Oh, and that is classic. So you bought natural gas because you were getting up to go to the loo, and you got sucked in by the magic candles. It's a great story. It is unfortunate. See, well, you need to get a good night's sleep. I think you're just trying to just push all the buttons on me now because you're saying I'm only going to lose oil on natural gas when I sell it, and of course you know my feelings on that. Your open profit or your open loss is a real open profit or open loss. Silver, we did silver, watch the recording, it's still boring. The recovery is still there, but it's been really boring the last 6 weeks. Lumber, let's have a look at lumber. Lumber prices went nuts, didn't they? About a year and a half ago from memory. What's it doing now? I've never looked at this, I haven't looked at this in a long time. Because I remember, I was here. No, it wasn't, it was a year ago. Because there were a load of houses getting built where I live. And I remember the developers saying how they couldn't get hold of raw materials for a start and the prices had gone absolutely through the roof. And one of those was, of course, the price of lumber. So lumber would, November 2021, 600 whatever, dollars, whatever it is. But it doubled into March of 2022. And since then, look at that. Look at the bust in the lumber market. It's interesting that, though, because Would you say, or could you say, are we seeing a reversal in lumber? Do we all need to load up on lumber again? Not that I did last time around, but maybe. It's an interesting one, that. For me, the interesting thing will be, when it sells off, where does it stop? So that one is going to go into the list of interesting markets to keep an eye on. But, so that, where's that gone from? So it's gone from 375 to 520. So it's moved 150. So it's a 40% move, isn't it? Pretty much off the lows in Jan. Interesting market, that, lumber. Let's see. Let's come back to it. And that's it. I think we're done, aren't we? There's a few questions about trading platforms. I am about, I think, to switch my broker because I quite like some of this new reporting. So I'm going to give it a bit of a test for a month and I'll report back. Okay, so I'm not keeping it secret because it's a secret, but I'm about to test something new out from a trading point of view, because again, you'll know if you've watched these things in the past, that page I showed you, how, I do absolutely try and keep records for everything. And I think you have to if you're going to try and trade well or find out what's wrong with your trading. So I might have some news on a broker in a bit. That's it, isn't it? I think we're done. So I enjoyed tonight. It was good fun. We rattled through a whole load of different things tonight, didn't we? So as usual, if you haven't subscribed, if you could subscribe to the YouTube channel and click a like on the thing, because it helps the YouTube algorithm or whatever. Do that. I'll do the live stream on Friday at 2:30 after the payrolls. Another interesting announcement. There's a euro-dollar video I'm going to do tomorrow. Take a look at that. I hopefully made a bit of money tonight on my euro trade as well. Go to the website to find out more about the trading course. Read the Trustpilot reviews. It is the best trading course out there. If you haven't signed up for the newsletter, go to the website. Bottom of the website, you can sign up for the newsletter. You can have a look at those numbers in a bit more detail. I'll email you the spreadsheet of the trades if you want to see that for any reason. Just drop me an email. DJ@davidjonestrading.com. And that's it, isn't it? I'm pretty sure that is everything. And I'll do that euro video tomorrow, and that'll go up on the channel tomorrow afternoon. So thanks for coming along tonight. Interesting to do it just after the announcement. Let's see what these markets look like on Friday. We'll do an update then. But until then, good luck with your trading.